Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com. SaaS, RaaS, and now NaaS. Meter is here with networking as a service. That's NaaS. To bring fast, secure, reliable internet, networking, and Wi-Fi to your warehouse. With just one monthly rate and no upfront costs, Meter allows you to focus on getting connected and getting moving. No installation or hardware cost, and just one monthly fee allows IT teams to do more with less. And most importantly, warehouses save time on network troubleshooting, avoid expensive downtime, and get an overall happier IT team. Meter is already powering connectivity for companies with millions of square feet, including Stored, GoBolt, Veho, Trove, and more. Why not add your name to that list? Go to meter.com/thenewwarehouse to get your first month free. That's meter.com/thenewwarehouse for your first month free.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. And on today's episode, I'm going to be joined by Emilee Martichenko, and she is the communications coordinator at American Logistics Aid Network, also known as ALAN for short. And they're a nonprofit that is helping disaster recovery and efforts to coordinate logistics and bring logistics companies together to be able to support those relief efforts and different things that are going on, which I think is incredibly important. And Emilee was a booth neighbor at ProMat across the aisle there earlier this year. So we connected that way. And it was very interesting to learn about ALAN, and the New Warehouse has since been able to support ALAN as well on one disaster recovery effort. So very interested to learn more about ALAN here from Emilee, and also bring a little more awareness to what they're doing too through the podcast. So Emilee, it's good to talk again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to connect again after ProMat, and I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I'm very happy to be able to be talking about this with you and kind of learning more about ALAN and what it is you all do. So for people, I'm sure you can explain it much better than I can. So for people that are not familiar with ALAN, which is the American Logistics Aid Network, let us know what it is that you guys do and what's the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. So ALAN is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we specialize in disaster relief using coordinated logistics solutions. So our overarching goal is to save lives and reduce suffering by ensuring the right materials make it to the right place, in the right quantity, and at the right time. And to do so, we engage a broad network of industry partners to supplement nonprofit organizations' logistics capabilities. So you can kind of think of us as a facilitator. So in the event of a disaster, nonprofits are mobilizing and they're trying to get critical resources to the disaster site. And there are all these extraordinary logistics and supply chain organizations that have these resources and they're willing to donate them. And we're that middle person who's making that connection so that the materials can make it to the disaster site as soon as possible and in the right quantities. And that way help and hope arrive sooner. I should also note, though, that while we do specialize in disaster relief, we also work in the general humanitarian space, connecting nonprofits with the equipment and services needed to improve their day-to-day operations and help communities experiencing economic disadvantages or food scarcity lack of access to clean drinking water, and, related issues.
All right, good to know, and definitely a very good mission there, and I think it's very interesting in there. I think oftentimes from the logistics standpoint, warehousing standpoint, it's about getting the product at the right time and the right quantity, right item to the customer. And, you kind of mentioned in there, it's about getting the logistics in the right time, right place for these issues that come up, whether it's a disaster or humanitarian efforts, whatever the case may be. But I think for, these situations, I mean, the right time, right place is even more important and more emphasized. But I'm curious, why initially was Alan started, and what kind of brought Alan, I guess, up, and how was it created?
Yeah, so Alan was born in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And when, there was this awful, awful devastation, and because of the unique situation and how terrible it was, there was such a struggle to get resources to the site and where they needed to be. And the logistics surrounding that was... it just wasn't coordinated the way it needed to be effective. And so when in the long-term response to Katrina, these group of organizations got together and they said, whoa, there's so much about the response effort that can be improved from a supply chain perspective. And thus Alan was born. And, it took us a few years to get a nonprofit charter and kind of get off the ground, but it was, reflective of an immediate need to have more coordinated solutions, but also a willingness from the logistics and supply chain industry to rise to the occasion and meet that.
Yeah, and I think it's such an interesting starting point. I mean, Hurricane Katrina is something that's kind of personal to me in a sense. A lot of my mother's side of the family is actually from Louisiana, and in Louisiana, I've spent a lot of my younger years traveling there quite often to the New Orleans area, and actually participating in Habitat for Humanity as well when Hurricane Katrina happened. And it's just pretty incredible to see the massive destruction. I was there maybe like 2 or 3 months after it happened, doing Habitat, and, just seeing the city that, I had kind of grown up visiting, and seeing all these things just kind of destroyed and totally different. And just the length of time it took to even recover from that, I think is pretty incredible. And you think about all the things that are happening, as you mentioned, from the supply chain perspective, being able to get things in there, and the materials that are needed to do those recovery relief efforts and make things happen. I mean, even, I was doing Habitat, and I'm sure, Habitat needs a way to get materials in there and do those types of things, along with all the other organizations that are trying to help too. So tell us a little bit about, from that standpoint. I mean, when we look at something that happens like that, whether it's a natural disaster, you were mentioning earlier, we're just kind of entering hurricane season here in North America and in the United States, and coming into the summer here. Tell us a little bit about, how important are logistics to that disaster recovery, and maybe some additional examples of how it's going to come into play, and the importance that really kind of underlies the overall efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind me, digressing for a very brief moment,
Sure.
Because I'd love to share with your audiences that in the, in the disaster relief space and community, we actually refrain from using the term natural disaster, because disasters are in some way man-made in pretty much every scenario, whether it's through like a climate change or a change in atmosphere, and how that's, evolved over many, many decades. But I thought that would be a fun little fact to throw in, that we actually, we withhold from the term natural disaster. But getting back to what your question was, and understanding how logistics is absolutely crucial, and, can really be the difference between saving lives in the short term and the long term after a disaster. And that's because when a disaster hits, a lot of the times that, the local economy, housing, communities, they they're devastated and they need to undergo extensive repair and recovery. And it's the logistics that's going to get the materials there as fast as possible. And so the way Alan is working to make that happen and to expedite that is we're matching businesses with nonprofits to meet their needs, to be able to get them to the site faster and meet the needs that are actually out there existing. So, a lot of the time after a disaster, people don't have a concrete understanding of even what's needed. And that's because it takes days or weeks or even months to even understand what resources are going to be the resources to expedite and help that recovery be as strong as it can be in the short and the long term. And that's why Alan exists, is we're the organization that is helping to connect the business community, government entities, the nonprofit community, the public and private sectors, and help everyone have a stronger understanding of even what's needed to begin with. And then once we have a stronger understanding of what's needed, then nonprofits can come to us and they submit a request for material handling equipment, warehousing space, transportation, shipping and packaging, or even expertise. And we're then going out to our network, which we have we have a very broad network and a very, very generous network. And so through, targeted communications or relationships with industry associations like Mahida, who is a wonderful Alan partner, we're putting out, a general call or targeted like personal emails or, just facilitating communications needed to say, hey, you've approached us in the past saying you have the logistics capabilities to help this nonprofit that needs to move food from point A to point B, or store food in a refrigerated or a non-refrigerated space, or even acquire the packaging supplies and needed to box up the food, or medical supplies, or, water filtration devices. So we're the one making those connections and then helping facilitate it. So it can once the connection is made, it can get off the ground. And then this actual supplies or the storage or whatever is most critically needed is the thing that is prioritized and makes it to the disaster site as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important thing, and it's pretty interesting because I think even you mentioned all the different aspects where nonprofits could need support from like the logistics community. There's so many different things there, and even as we got connected at ProMat, and then afterwards was able to see where there was one need, and even on the smaller scale too. I mean, like one of the requests that we were able to do through the new warehouse was the plastic wrap, just simple plastic wrap for pallets. And I think, it goes all the way from, maybe warehousing space to forklifts to small things like that, whether it's tape or wrap and all those different things. All those things need to kind of come together and be coordinated to be able to help with these efforts. And I think it's great that you're able to coordinate that through Alan and connect all these businesses who want to help with nonprofits that need the help, because when we think about it, most nonprofits that are providing different services and relief efforts and things like that, I mean, they're not necessarily logistics companies, right? So they may not have these resources or even the knowledge, as you mentioned, to be able to do that. So bringing somebody in to help coordinate those things too, I think is a really interesting thing. And I guess along those lines too of having expertise in logistics and being able to do that. I mean, from a logistics supply chain perspective, we always like to plan. I think that's in the nature of being in the business. Things don't always go according to plan, and sometimes we have to react, which is very much the atmosphere of a disaster as well. But talk to us a little bit too about how Alan is not only helping to maybe help when the disaster happens and putting, those resources and things into motion to react, but also the preparedness that comes prior to a disaster happening, and how do you kind of tee that up and coordinate so that things are in place in case something happens?
Yes, absolutely. And something about Alan that we pride ourselves on is we're very much a behind the scenes organization. We're the people behind the curtain, and we like to take that step back, and we like to see all of these wonderful donations made to help relief efforts occur. And we like to see, watch the difference it makes in people's lives from the background. But the problem with that is that we don't always get visibility on what we're doing behind the scenes, which is so critical. And so oftentimes, leading up to a disaster, people might think, what is Alan doing? What is Alan doing? When in truth is we're doing so much.
Right.
We're actively interfacing with our government and industry partners to promote greater collaboration and situational awareness between all these moving parts and with all these different entities. So when it does come time to actually get things moving, things are already in place to start moving faster. And people have, across all these sectors, have a stronger understanding of where things need to move to. We're reviewing the infrastructure and industries that are likely to be impacted if we are anticipating that a tropical storm or a hurricane is going to make landfall in a specific region. We're checking in with our nonprofit networks about their current logistics resources that they have in place and what they're lacking and what they anticipate needing. We're continuing to host our Supply Chain Intelligence Center, which provides absolutely free, it's incredible, real-time visibility to the latest disasters and their supply chain impacts, all the way down to the state and local level. And we're amplifying important safety and preparation messages from various news and disaster preparation sources so that area businesses and residents stay informed. And we're encouraging people to also, follow the National Weather Service, follow the National Hurricane Center, understand what your local resources are that are going to bring you the fastest updates as things are happening and in advance of things happening. We're doing all of that.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's great to see too that you guys are thinking about the back end as well, and being able to build that foundation to not only react quickly, but then also give people the tools as well so that they can react within their own supply chains to maybe these disasters or what's happening. So tell us, tell us a little bit more about the Supply Chain Intelligence Center and how that works and who really should be utilizing that.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. So the Supply Chain Intelligence Center, it's this incredible GIS tool that provides real updates on the charted path of hurricanes and tropical storms, and as well as supply chain impacts like changes to roads, ports, and airports in the event of or following a disaster. And it serves so many different industries. It serves government entities, nonprofits, private sector organizations, and it's free. So all you have to do is go online to allanaid.org/map, and you can register right there, and you have instant access to this incredible tool. And the technology is provided by Everstream Analytics, one of our very generous Allen partners, and it's constantly kept up to date as anything from, a hurricane is approaching landfall, and even COVID-19. When COVID-19 was happening, we had COVID updates being mapped out all over the US and internationally. So it's really an incredible tool. And like I said, it serves all industries. So we highly encourage people to register, because I don't think people truly understand the benefits that it can provide. And to businesses, if you're a business that is located in a hurricane risk zone, or, we saw this 2 days ago with the tornadoes in Texas, but like you said, the new warehouse helped fill one of our cases following the tornadoes earlier in the spring in the South. And if you're a business and you're in an at-risk area, whether you're in Tornado Alley or you're in a hurricane risk zone, business continuity plans, those are crucial. And the Supply Chain Intelligence Center can be of service to that.
Yeah. And I think that's such a great point, because you want to be able to plan for almost anything that can happen. I mean, it was difficult to plan for some things, right? Like COVID, certainly. I think we didn't necessarily expect that, right? But when you talk about, you're in certain areas where, you're either prone to tornadoes, prone to hurricanes, whatever the case may be, you can start to prepare and really be able to build out that kind of backup plan. And what do you do in the case where, maybe there's building damage, or, roads are closed and transportation is cut off? How are you going to adjust your business or prepare to be able to do that, so that, you don't see a significant drop off within your business? And then how are you also able to protect, your employees in those situations as well? I think it's really important to be able to have that kind of information and data to plan off. So it's great that you are thinking about that from a lot of different perspectives, and being able to kind of bring it all together underneath Alan, and not only coordinate efforts when something does happen, but also be able to allow people to prepare and plan, and make sure that when things do happen, which, inevitably, unfortunately, are going to happen, you can react very quickly and be there to be able to make things happen. And I think that's one of the very interesting and strong things I think about the logistics world and the community, is that, we're always very quick to react when there's a problem. If something occurs, whether it's a disaster or a problem within the warehouse, whatever the case may be, day to day, we're always there, and we're fixers, we're solution providers. We want to find and resolve that problem and be able to help out. So it's great that you're giving another outlet, I think, for companies to be able to help in a different way and have a larger impact too. So you also have these humanitarian logistics awards too, and I think the nominations are open now. So tell us a little bit about that program and what the awards involve.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to. So every spring we open nominations for our Humanitarian Logistics Awards. Nominations this year are open through June 25th. So I encourage everyone to nominate now as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. They were created in 2017 to honor businesses and individuals working in the humanitarian logistics field and contributing to its advancement. And we have 4 categories, which you can read more about on our website, but they're outstanding contribution to disaster relief, employee engagement, lifetime achievement, and research and academic contribution. And the impetus behind these is that so many organizations in the logistics and supply chain space are already doing incredible things to help their communities or, broader humanitarian crises, whether domestically or abroad. And it's going unrecognized currently because I think so few people, because like you said, we're fixers and we're always chasing after best practices because everyone is, trying to find that what helps improve the end-to-end supply chain. And so part of this is that this generosity is that organizations are in the supply chain and logistics industry, they're doing their own thing and they have humanitarian initiatives currently in action. And what we want to do is we want to spotlight them and their incredible achievements and what they're continuing to do. So that's the purpose and the mission behind these awards, is that we want to recognize not only what all of our incredible partner organizations are doing with Alan, mm-hmm. but who else is out there who isn't involved with us, but is doing similar work or is doing adjacent work that should go recognized or should be recognized. So I would encourage everybody, whether you're working on community development or we've had past winners raise and do incredible support for what's happening over in Ukraine right now. And mm-hmm. I would encourage everyone to go onto our website, to read about the awards, to learn about our past winners and what they've done and what they're continuing to do, and to nominate themselves, others, individuals, companies, and allow us to recognize your contributions.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. And I think, like you said, we just want to solve problems. And I think, in the logistics community, we just keep going, and we are doers, I guess, in a sense. And, it is, like you said, it's not often where, people are doing some amazing things and not necessarily getting the recognition that necessarily they maybe should for their efforts and what they're doing for community and just improving humanity as a whole as well within our industry. So it's great that you all are recognizing that and having these awards to be able to do that. So it'd be very interesting to see who is nominated and who ultimately wins this year. And maybe we can have them on the podcast at some point too. I think it would be good to highlight them even further. And, I think it's great what you guys are doing at Allen overall, and really appreciate the efforts that you're doing for everyone and being able to bring in these critical aspects to these events that occur that are unfortunate, but need the logistics to be able to make them happen and go further in progressing and getting beyond them. So if people are listening and they're interested in learning more about Allen or getting involved with the organization, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. So if you want to know more information about Allen, go online to our website, allenaid.org, learn about us, read about our humanitarian logistics awards, check out our supply chain intelligence center, register. It's free. Read about what we've been up to. We have our newsletters on our website, and you can read about, where we're headed next, what some of our current initiatives are, and reach out to us personally. We're a small executive team. We love making new connections. We exist off of our connections and the generosity born out of them. So you can email us at info@allenaid.org, and we're more than happy to pass on information about what we do and what we're currently involved in and ways you can get involved with us. You can volunteer with us. Is a wonderful way to be part of Allen and learn more about how our operations work from day to day. You can donate. Like I said, we're a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit, and we exist off of donations, both in kind and financial. So you can, we have different levels of sponsorship that will get your logo on our website. In certain cases, get you a press release that will get you a social media thank you, because we love recognizing our donors and sharing with the world all the ways that they've supported us. And you can donate supply chain equipment and services. We have, by going online to our website and making a pre-offer. So we have a database of all of our wonderful partners who have registered with us saying, hey, we would be interested in donating warehouse space or donating material handling equipment. And so, when you make a pre-offer with us, it's not us saying, oh, you've now committed. It's you saying, hey, if you have a case that currently needs to be filled, or one that you get in the future, we're here and we have these resources and we have these capabilities, and we would potentially be able to fill them. And so you should reach out to us in that event. And that helps us know who to turn to faster and generally facilitate the recovery process faster. So yes, to summarize, go to our website, allenaid.org, email us, info@allenaid.org, volunteer, donate, whether it's in kind by pre-registering. If you think that, your organization is capable of or would like to donate equipment or services right now, head to our disaster microsite on our website. It lists out all of the cases that currently need to be filled and that we're working on filling. And so, those are some wonderful and great first steps to learning more about us and staying involved. Follow us on social media at AllenAid. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right, great. And we'll definitely put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well, so people can easily find it. But tons of ways to get involved and help support the efforts of AllenAid, as you heard there. And I will say, it's someone that's donated recently. I mentioned the plastic wrap we donated. I mean, it was super easy to do so. So, if you just wanted to contribute real quick something, it's very easy to do that. Emily makes it very easy, I'll say. So we'll definitely put that information up so people can see it and get involved and help out these great efforts that AllenAid is doing. So, Emily, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking.
And
about
Kevin,
this.
if I can just say one more thing, sure. Thank you for making that donation after the tornadoes hit the South. And what I just want to reiterate there is that, you donated stretch wrap, and it can seem like such a small thing, but in reality, it's such a big thing, because then the nonprofit receives the stretch wrap, and then their organizations get to keep on rolling, and needs are met faster. And I would just like to reiterate to everybody listening that no matter how small you think financial donation is or an in-kind donation is, it really does make a huge difference. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'm very happy to do that. I mean, I think that, as the new warehouse, we've kind of been searching for a cause or something to support. And obviously, I think this aligns very well with our mission too, as well, and being able to support those kind of efforts. So, I thank you for bringing the awareness and for Alan putting together such a great coordinated effort to bring logistics services to people who really need it in times of need. So really great stuff. And we'll definitely put all the information so people can find it at thenewwarehouse.com. So Emilee, thank you once again for coming on the show and discussing this.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.